Okay, so I already watched a few seconds of this Eric July video, and I think it's one to react to. It's called When the Left Comes to Collect. And if you're wondering who Eric July is, he's the creator of this comic, Isom, and a superhero comic, and he's mainly known for that and for being a YouTuber, and he's going to talk about here. I'll show you a recent viral moment involving a streamer. The streamer being Emiru, I think I saw in the picture, being pressured to give political opinions. So neutrality is no longer acceptable, like being apolitical or being middle of the road political. Both of those things are not really liked anymore. And it's been like that for years now, but it wasn't always like that. Oh, and just, of course, remember, fence sitters are annoying. Let's show you what Nux Taku says. Okay, let's go.
Fence sitters are so annoying. So annoying.
Yeah, that's what Nux Taku says. Okay, I'll get rid of that one. And let's go back to Eric July.
Again, speaking of, this is exactly what I'm talking about with the political apparatus, social, cultural, whatever. Take a look at this. So, Emiru, who is apparently a streamer, I'm not going to sit up here and lie to you, act like I know exactly who this person.
Okay, so Emiru is the streamer that was recently in that Twitch controversy at TwitchCon, where there was someone that came up and grabbed her, or was it force kissed her, something like that, and it was really dangerous for her, and she was like, she wanted to have her own security, but she wasn't allowed to, or something like that. There was a whole big deal. It was really complicated. So she's the one that was in that controversy as a victim, and then there was something else between her and Ms. Kiff, I think, with the plushie throwing, something like that. So anyways, so she is well known, and she has been in big dramatic things lately. But yeah, I don't really know who she is outside of that, other than just hearing drama YouTubers mention her from time to time. Okay, so let's keep going.
Who is apparently a streamer, I'm not going to sit up here and lie to you, act like I know exactly who this person is. I've never watched a stream from them, but that is totally irrelevant to the point that I'm going to make. They apparently have a sizable following. And I don't know if it was their chat or whatever that asked them specifically about their thoughts on ICE. And the response that they had, it wasn't a bad response at all. The response is, if you need a streamer who doesn't even know anything about politics to tell you about politics, you probably just need to get off the internet. And that's not a bad take, right? If you are one of those that's like, look, man, you don't care about this type of stuff, or it's one of those things where you recognize it's the Michael Jordan approach, Republicans buy sneakers too. And so you just are like, I don't want to get involved in that.
Oh, yeah. So that was a very famous quote from Michael Jordan. I think maybe it was even back in the 90s or something. It was quite a ways back. Yeah, people were trying to get him to endorse a Democrat politician that he probably would have wanted to support, but he's like, hey, Republicans buy sneakers too. If you take one side, what happens? The other side is like, hey, I don't want to buy your sneakers. So, it's better to not take a side when you can reasonably do so. In a lot of cases, it really makes business sense at the very least. Okay, let's keep going.
Totally understandable reaction. But look at the reaction that she is getting. Why was she asked that in the first place? Well, it's very clear. If you are semi-popular in a creative space, in pop culture, entertainment, whatever that may be, they think that you have to align with them on the core issues. That's the bottom line. And they need full-blown adoption, embrace, acceptance, and you need to be basically their mouthpiece. That's just how it works. And they are very, very effective in going person to person, trying to get that, like, root that out. Because, as I've been talking about, they do not operate like you or I, maybe a lot of you that watch my videos operate, where you aren't really hyper focused on something like that. And I'm gonna be honest with you, and it's very difficult to navigate, and it's a hard pill to swallow. It's difficult to combat them because of how they act, right? The reason why they pretty much own the pop culture entertainment space is because these methods work very well. They can whip people into shape. This is why folks will get out there. Look at everybody counter signaling and all these streamers and content creators that are counter signaling saying, oh, well, I'll say it. And they're going around saying F-Ice and all this other stuff, basically going line to line about everything that they have to in order to continue to exist in their space and be semi-popular.
Yeah. Hear how Eric July is saying, talking about going line by line and adhering to everything. So yeah, that's another thing that's become a feature of politics in recent years, is that, you know, like in the 80s and 90s, it used to be really extremely common for someone to describe themselves as a Democrat, but some of the ideas that they really supported were quite Republican, or vice versa. So, and that sort of thing still exists, but it's not very common. And anyone that is a public figure is really pressured to have, like, you know, a whole list of these are the exact opinions you should have on hundreds of issues, and you must align perfectly. You know, there's that pressure. And there's also the pressure to decide really quickly. Like, you know, when ICE incidents come up, like the Renee Good incident and the Alex Preddy incident, both of those things, everyone was pressured to decide right away. And I know that I made a series of videos on those things, where on each of those I was a fence sitter. And I also, though, gradually changed my mind. Like, I was sort of like more on one side of the fence to start with, and then I sort of gradually got partway on the other side of the fence. And people did not like that. People could not handle that. They were like, first off, don't be a fence sitter. Secondly, don't ever change your mind or try to remain neutral at first, or say, you know, there's not enough time to decide yet, and it's really they just want you to decide. They want you to align in every detail, and it's and that attitude is on the right and the left. But it's a lot more of a left attitude now. And yeah, it's like every single detail has to be aligned, and yeah, just like pressured to say, hey, it's like, you know, when incidents come in and the footage is blurry, and maybe it comes in chunks over the course of days, and oh, here's some more footage from this camera, and oh, here's some more footage from that camera, and then experts are looking at it frame by frame and measuring everything, and, you know, doing the high contrast, and, you know, all sorts of weird techniques to analyze it, and even they can't necessarily agree completely on what's going on, you know, and yet everyone's supposed to decide. You're supposed to know exactly what happened, exactly who's to blame. You can't ever say, oh, you know, ICE was partly to blame, and the protesters were partly to blame in this incident. And then in this other incident, ICE was really very much to blame. And then in this other incident, the protesters were really very much to blame. You can't say that stuff. You have to be just on one side. That's what it feels like. And he's talking about some of that stuff. Like there's a whole list of positions and pressure to just go with all of those ideas.
These are the positions that they absolutely must have. That's how they navigate basically the entire entertainment apparatus. You cannot be apolitical. You cannot be, especially on the economic right, whether regardless of what you call yourself, they will not support you. And that's what's so difficult, how it's so difficult to navigate there, because whereas to, if you're talking about the two major dominant, at least in the West or rather in America, the two major dominant political, like people that do know their little way around political aspects, I guess, and have their own opinions. One side will never support the other side. The other side will under certain circumstances. And I'm talking about the quote unquote left will never give you the time of day. If you are someone like me, whatever I produce, because I am not one of them, it's always going to be the worst fucking thing ever. If I were to switch my politics, the Rippaverse would be the best thing since fucking sliced bread, according to them. But as long as
Oh, I'm sorry. He doesn't say the F-bomb as much as Asmongold and some of those I watch, but he does occasionally say the F-bomb. Sorry about the F-bomb there.
right here, as long as I am going to be right here, which I ain't going anywhere, but as long as I'm here, they will never give it the time of day. They will work, and I mean, they'll spend a lot of time making sure that they feel that that everybody knows that, well, they're going to try to delegitimize any effort that we have, right?
Yeah, so Eric July, he's been, I'm going to stop watching his video right here because I want you to watch the entire video for yourself. I don't like parasitic react content, and, you know, I'm such a super tiny channel that this is not going to take away any of his viewers at all, I'm sure. But if I someday become a large channel, I don't want to think to myself, am I a parasitic reactor? I don't want to think that. So I want you to go and watch the rest of his video. But I will tell you that this guy has a long history. He has a very long history of being suppressed politically because his opinions are not what they want to hear. He doesn't have the right set of them, and because of that, his comic gets pushed down so much and all this stuff. And he's brave to be like this. He's really brave to be like this because, you know, I sort of complained about it a little bit. I don't have a monetized channel. I don't have a comic book that the authorities could hammer on and bother. I don't have anything like that. I just have demonetized channel. I don't have any content that I'm trying to get out there, some, you know, a comic book or anything like that. I don't have that people could push on. But he has had a lot of pushback, and he's stood his ground because he has his own opinions and he believes in them, and he doesn't like being given a list of the proper opinions and then being expected to adhere to every last detail of them. So anyways, this here is Eric July, and I'll let him you watch his stuff yourself. Oh yeah, let's give it a thumbs up. I forgot to do that before. I'll let you watch the rest of this. And he's got loads and loads of videos, and he explains all his stuff. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. He's got a lot of backstory for himself and for his comic book, and it's pretty cool. He's stuck to his opinions, and yeah, look, Look at this one. It's like they try to say he's a right-wing grifter. And when in fact, if he became a left-wing grifter, he could make tons of money and get a lot of support. But he doesn't do that because that's not what he wants to do. Okay, so just wanted to show you a little bit of that stuff. And let's go ahead and stop recording this.